Okay, I wanted to dive in and break down exactly how I made this short Lotus Emira reel. It got some really good traction on social media. A lot of people were asking about how I did the sound design. I posted my timeline on Instagram shortly after, but I feel like it's going to be more helpful if I really dissect this with you. So I'm going to go over just my philosophy with this film, show you the different sounds by themselves, and then how they sound stacked up, why I put them there, stuff like that. So let's dive in. So this video actually starts off with a great example of how I like to structure my sound effects as I layer them. So what we have here is a bass hit right here, an impact transition sound, and then we have a whoosh sound, and then just a close movement sound. What you'll notice though is that I have a bassy sound and then like a mid to higher pitch sound on top of each other. When you do that, it creates a more substantial audio experience. If I were to just play this scene with just one of these sounds, it doesn't sound bad, but if I play them with all the sounds, it sounds rich and full, right? And in this case, all he's doing is just pressing in the clutch. And so I chose to have a bass sound as he hits that clutch, a higher pitch impact sound as he hits that clutch, and then I added a whoosh sound because his leg is moving through the frame. If it has movement, it's got to have sound, in my opinion. And then added some clothes rustling because I figured that's just like a tad bit of realism. And to speak on the whole like realism thing, your goal isn't to create a realistic sounding video. Your goal is to create a video that is just fun to listen to, in my opinion. You want this to be kind of like a roller coaster ride for the ears. You want this to constantly build suspense, then pay off, and build suspense and pay off. And in this case, I just wanted to start off the video with a bang to get people's attention. One of the funnest parts about this project was the fact that the Emira not only has a manual transmission, but it has an exposed gear linkage underneath in like the transmission tunnel, which just made for such a fun dynamic where I could just add another piece of sound to my film. And in this case, we have the movement of him taking his hand from the wheel to the shift knob right here, paired with this down here. Again, that's more of that sub-bassy sound, so we pair those together. Very fun. And then I use this bassy sound to actually carry into this next shot to kind of marry the two together. And here we have very mechanical sounds. None of these sounds are sounds that the actual shifter makes. None of them. The shifter, though it looks all mechanical and cool, doesn't sound special. It sounds like any other shifter, which is to say very unspectacular. So instead, I added these sounds. We got a reloading sound here. Just a really subtle mechanical sound right there. And then it pays off with this clutch dump to accelerator press. So he takes his foot off the clutch, presses the accelerator. We'll see, we hear this sound, and we hear this sound. Again, just some closed movement as he swaps legs and pushes onto the other pedal, as well as an impact movement as he slams onto that pedal. Let's break down this throttle body sound right here. Got the sub hit. Mech Zero tiny robot transformation. Obviously, I was looking for just a small mechanical sound as that throttle body opened up. And then that is going to act as a riser. Think of it as a riser can be used to build anticipation for the coming scene. And in this case, he just probably stomped on the throttle. We're about to see what happens. So we put all these, oh, then we got one down here too. Put all those together. Very fun. Next we have, you'll notice we haven't actually heard the car yet. So now we hear the exhaust right here. And then we hear the supercharger down here. Let's see, that's this one. Combine those two, you get the full sound of the car. And then we have this right here, a bassy hit to help pay off that small riser that we had back here. We also have a fun mechanical, just serves as like a transition sound to introduce the scene. And then with this montage right here, it's really important that you separate these sounds so that they don't just all mesh into one blob of a sound as you're going through these really quick cuts. In this case, you'll notice I have these fade ins and fade outs. So I fade this one out just as the scene is ending, along with this piece down here. That's part of the engine sound. That fades out. These cut in. This fades out. And this fades in for this scene and fades out by the end of it. This just creates a little bit of a gap between each of these scenes to make sure that each of them have their own specific sounds rather than just being part of one jumbled mess. Next is just this scene of this road, which is one of the longer scenes in this short little video. The thing about this is roads don't make sound technically, but like I said, if it's moving, it deserves sound. So in this case, I decided to add the sandstorm sound, as well as this like a distant explosion modulated low, as it's called. The reason why I added that sound right there is because these lines painted on the road just entered the frame, and I gave them a sound. It sounds funny, but when you're watching, it doesn't feel funny at all. If we check in on these ones down here, ooh, I love that like kind of choppery, wobbly, just like brrr, so good for just like a road moving under you or curbing on a racetrack moving through the frame. Money. In fact, I think I have two different sounds for that. We got oh yeah, this one looks like this bass drop right here has it too. I lied. Nope. This drone, that's got to be it. Yeah, so you combine that one with this rapid fire right here. Works like a charm every time. And then we have this super random sorcerer charge electric thud. But it's exactly what I need because this sound just fortuitously helps introduce these stripes. Just works out. Here's a little tip when you're looking up sounds too, is if you add like sci-fi to the end of the sound you're looking up, or futuristic or alien or something like that, it's going to give you a really, really cool version of that sound. So like typing in like gun reload is going to sound a lot different than gun reload sci-fi or sci-fi gun reload or futuristic gun reload. Two very different results. Super cool though. Another thing that's worth mentioning too is this this laser machine gun rapid firing, as it's called, is heavily modified by me. So this is what it sounds like right now. Very subtle. This is what it sounded like prior to me messing with it. So you'll see I did a really heavy low pass on this thing, as well as turn down the pitch of it too. Turn those off, this is what it originally sounded like. Like, if you heard that, you might think that's not at all what I'm looking for this scene. But if you can find a sound that's close enough, you might be able to just manipulate it to get it to where you want. So if we turn on the pitch by itself, where I turn it down, this is what that sounds like. And then we add that low pass, that's what really sells it. Now it's a completely different sound. Fun little tricks that you can do there. Okay, next up that's worth noting is we have these scenes are now going to become a really long riser to the ultimate payoff of the video, which is what this spaceship engine liftoff riser is doing for us. So this carries us into this scene, which then carries us into this scene, which is going to prep us for the payoff, where I have a separate smaller riser. Think of it as like you see the main character, he's about to pull the trigger. It's leading up to it. Then you see his finger squeezing, and then you see the finger click, right? You pause for just a moment, just like the slightest second. There's a pause between the click and the bang. That's what we're trying to create here. He's about to pull the trigger, starts pulling the trigger, pulls it, bang. That's the kind of anticipation and payoff that I'm talking about. And when you stagger it like that, when you spread it out just a little bit, provide like the tiniest gap between these points, it makes all the difference. All the difference. So yeah, that's essentially my thought process behind how I made this 10-second video. It was, honestly, this project was a ton of fun. I loved filming this car. I think I'll do this for a lot of videos that I have up right now. And then hopefully in the future, I can actually break down the structure of sound design as I build it on a video. And just kind of do that with you guys so you can see my live thought process, as well as how I find sounds that I then manipulate into what I want them to be. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully this helps with your own sound design. Go have fun.